We'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tom? Jack?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes. Take a look at the minutes, any additions, corrections, omissions. I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
All in favor? Take a look at the treasurer's report. I'll make a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Second.
All in favor? Let's see, we only have a couple things here to talk about. Township put out bids for garage renovations. We're going to table that until the next meeting because we have to get an engineer involved. So we'll open the bids at next month's meeting, June 15th. Next thing we have is we're going to be placing out to bid for approximately 2 miles of used guardrails. Bids will be opened up at the June meeting. Where are the guardrails? All over the township.
Okay, so we're going to take any questions from the audience in terms of anything in the township that you'd like to talk about. I would just ask that you raise your hand, we'll call you, and then state your name and where you're from, okay? No, great, okay. You want to just follow up? Is that what
Yeah, and if they don't, they can
Okay.
say.
Well, I'm going to butcher some people's names, so I apologize right off the bat. Hugh Combs. Sir, would you like to speak?
Yes, I would.
Okay, go right ahead.
I read the online distribution and the information that there was a proposal for a hazardous waste incinerator to be built in our township off of Route 81. And I would like to recommend most strongly against that. The builder's special plan, especially for burning hazardous waste, cannot give us any reasonable guarantees that they're not going to pollute our environment irreparably. You know, they can do all the tuning and tweaking they want prior to an inspection, and then they get their plant within specs for that day. But after the inspectors go, everything goes to pieces. We've had prior experience with companies that wanted to come in here and build a trash to energy incinerator. And fortunately, we built that one and the company went bankrupt. I would recommend to the supervisors that they do some research on this company and any facilities that they have built to find out what their record actually is. And I think you'll find it very disturbing. So I would say, don't let them do it.
Dan O'Hara?
Not at this time.
Thank you. Louise and Pat Birch?
I'm the one that, brought those names in, the people are against it, and if there's anything that I can do to help the community, I'll be glad to do, but I don't know what to do. I'm relatively new at this because Saturday, somebody came knocking on my door, and I said yes, because this incinerator is going to be right in my backyard. And I came from Philly, and there was a Philadelphia incinerator right there on the Delaware. It's nasty. No way, Jose. So if anybody can help me or want to help me, I'll be glad to do whatever needs to be done, you know, to keep this out of my neighborhood, because 848 is a mess. There's quarter trucks, and this is only going to make more of a mess. Thank you.
Donna Cosmatos? Teresa White? John White? Terry Oakley?
I would just like to know what exactly we're talking about and what the location is.
Okay. Let me answer. So, we're not sure ourselves in terms of what is going to occur. I spoke to Commissioner Hall today after I became aware of the situation, and he advised me that a group of business or investors had approached the commissioners and had stated to them that they were considering an incinerator plant for industrial, and that was something that was stressed, it was industrial rather than hazardous waste, at least to me it was, that it would mean the incineration of industrial type of products like paint and things of that nature, pharmaceutical type of byproducts, and that it would not necessarily, I'm using the word necessarily because it wasn't stated to me, it would not be a biological nature, but that was the representations that were made to Mr. Hall, and that's what he communicated to me. I contacted Bob Templeton, who is the director of the Planning Commission for Susquehanna County, who was the agency that they would have to go to approve the plans, and he advised that nothing has been submitted to the county through his department. And that's what we know so far about this plan, or this inquiry. I'm not even sure if it's more than that. I think the only other thing I can say is, from my understanding, it's the location that's been told to me, and I can only tell you what has been told to me, was somewhere behind the Burger King near the Gibson exit, and that it is currently not owned by that company, is what I understand. Mark Oakley?
Yeah, I just have to say that exit up there right now is a mess to begin with, and bringing in another huge company or whatever corporation is going to make it that much worse. And I don't recommend it for the traffic reason alone.
Tom Chamberlain?
I didn't know I signed up to speak, but I will.
Okay.
That's what I heard you.
I remember a few years ago, the township was looking at a residential incinerator somewhere near the Gibson exit. I'm not sure how much traction that gained, but we don't have it. The concern was that that really wasn't a great welcome mat to welcome to Susquehanna County. We think about the landfill that New Milford Borough had for residential garbage, and then it evolved into something bigger. And that pretty well told us a story that sometimes corporate America doesn't always tell the right story. And so do I have some concerns about another incinerator? Sure, I think we all do, and that's why we're here. I think Mark Oakley said it very well about the Gibson exit. That is a helter-skelter mess down there. That I would challenge you to try to give somebody directions to go to the Holiday Inn Express. I mean,
It's up my driveway.
So, I mean, Mark, you're talking the other side of the road. So, you know, I don't know, but I have some concerns. I guess maybe I would
I would sum it up this way, an incinerator for Susquehanna County, regardless of what it is that really the best that we can do?
Thank you. Dave Kelly or Colby?
No, I don't need to speak right now.
Michael, Lucy Grimsman? Ron Kowalski, sorry. Yeah, I told you it's gonna happen, so. Len Scheffler?
I'll pass.
Okay. Last name is a D, who's a contractor and lives on State Route 148. Okay, thank you. Mind stating your name?
Here for the same reason, what the air quality is going to come to is the project of the incinerator. That's all.
Thank you.
That's me.
Okay, thank you. Oh, I see, okay.
I just have a couple of questions, if I may.
Sure.
Are the Tyler Industrial Park and the incinerator related as the same company? Is it one or the other?
Should I answer one at a time? Is that
If you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. I heard only that the incinerator company may be looking to develop further than just the incinerator plant, because the byproduct of the incineration process creates energy, which can then fuel energy for other projects there.
So the incinerator company is Tyler Industrial Park. It would be the same investment.
I don't know the answer to that question because no one's told me that. And again, this is somewhat new, so we're trying to get some information. But anybody I've spoken to at where I would expect some of the answers to be, if something of significance and move forward, don't know the answer either. So unfortunately, we just don't know the parameters. It's very nebulous at this point.
And where is there a similar facility to one proposed to use? Is there one that we can, I'd be happy to go look at it and talk to neighbors and businesses. And is there one that's,
I don't know one, and I haven't inquired.
okay, will we get that information eventually?
I can ask. I don't
Okay,
know
good.
if anybody else would have any other information than I do, but I can ask.
Thank you.
Sure. And just so you know, I don't have any contact with any of these individuals.
Okay.
So, and remember, the township has a jurisdictional issue outside of the decision-making process as a jurisdictional issue. It's a lot more involved at the county, at the state agencies, DEP, and even potentially the federal government with the EPA.
So eventually we will know the name of the company and what they actually,
If they're serious enough and wish to proceed with planning and otherwise, they absolutely would have to provide some level of information.
thank you.
Sure. David Oakley?
Yeah, I just got a question. If I read the story right, there was two proposals, two investors, whatever you want to call it.
Two separate parts, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, we talked about, well, they were both looking at the same spot of ground. Maybe my question is, okay, tonight seems to be the incinerator, seems to be on everybody's mind. And I kind of agree with it. But what else was in the proposal besides the incinerator? Was there anything else?
If I may, Mike, it indicated that there were two investors, one for the property and one for the incinerator. That was what I was trying to get at myself.
That's beyond my understanding of what it is. I have to preface all of this as, as being so preliminary and so out of the blue, if you will.
I was told that the sign for the Tyler Industrial Park is going up in 30 days.
I don't know.
Mr. Hall told me that the sign for the Tyler Industrial Park is going up in 30 days.
Okay,
So
that's the first word I'm hearing of that. I'm not sure of anything else. Yep. So. Susan Oakley?
Yeah, are we gonna get to say yes or no to this again, or is this it?
Well, I don't think that you can say that this is it. I mean, if you're looking through just the normal process of developing land, since New Milford Township doesn't have zoning, and it relies upon the county's SALDO, the subdivision and land development ordinance, the permits that, and the applications, I should say, and then the permit that comes from that organization. I assume, but I don't know, that the type of structure and business that is being proposed has to be regulated, and we're suspecting will be from DEP and maybe even the EPA.
So we don't get a say?
Well, you can say, you have absolute right to voice your opinion. I don't know if you're asking whether or not there were some type of vote on the issue. That is something that your representatives who will ultimately make the decision in some of these things.
So if we're against it, what do we do?
Well, I think you go to the meetings that, are important. I think the county level meetings are important, obviously, because, again, they are the ones that, it's not so much that they
What
make it.
meetings is that?
Well, the planning commission meeting, the Susquehanna County Planning Commission meeting, that they have a meeting, I can't tell you what day of the week and how many times, I think it's once a month, that they will be analyzing the plans. And remember, a SALDO is a ordinance that if a company or anybody, if you were doing it, comply with the provisions, it's not a necessarily, it should be or shouldn't be, it's you comply, and if you do, then it proceeds. Typically.
I think this question was asked before. Where are there similar things that we can go check what it is?
Yeah, we can try
We don't
finding
know.
out for it. We don't know. We don't even know what we're really proposing here. I mean, ultimately.
So are we going to have more meetings then?
Well, you have every month we have a township meeting. And you're welcome to come. I mean, usually I would say the
I
township
mean, will you
meeting.
have more information on those meetings?
Well, again, we are not the point of where the information will come in. I would learn my information, so with the township, by going to other sources of information, or other sources to get information, such as the planning commission and their regular meetings. You can do your own research at DEP if that's something that you're inclined to do. That's things that you can do for yourself.
If we do get information, we'll be more than willing to share it with you, but we haven't got any information on any of this yet,
Nothing's coming.
except what's done in the paper, which I haven't even read. I just got blindsided by this at 7 o'clock tonight, so I'm as in the dark as you are.
I'll finish up this and then I'll run back if that's okay. Sean McHale?
I'm just here for information.
Okay, sure. And Jack was now,
I'll pass it this time.
okay. That's all I have on the list, so if I don't know if oh, this is more?
Yeah,
This is in opposition to the.
okay, then it's not, but Ms. Merrill, she came in and asked to get the list to start a meeting, so I think she's not.
You had somebody come in late too, you might want.
Okay, sure, that's no problem, go ahead. If you just announce your name.
And basically, I'm Yellow Solar, and I wrote down what I wanted to say because I have too many senior moments and I didn't want to just stand up and babble.
Sure.
And I know this township supervisors, and I've met Jules, but I don't know who you are. Who are you?
Mike Brickley, I've been the
Oh, you're the
solicitor for, since 2004, if I'm not
You're, I know your name.
Yeah,
Solicitor.
right.
I have a letter for you.
Oh, good, okay.
But before I get to that,
Merrill, we're keeping it at a 2-minute time limit, okay?
I'm gonna, okay, I will try and be as brief as possible.
Okay.
I live here, please don't shut me off.
Okay.
I've just come out of the emergency room because my health isn't so great, so just give me a little bit of a break.
No problem.
First of all, this information came from the Susquehanna County Planning Director's Report dated April 26, 2016, from Director Bob Templeton. It was included with the published monthly minutes, and I will quote, it says, "The Tyler Corners Group, as I mentioned in my email of April 11th, the Tyler Corners Group will be proposing an industrial development on lands they intend to purchase on the east side of the Gibson exit off I-81. The group intends to develop the land with an incinerator to process hazardous industrial waste. Natural gas will be used as the energy source for the incineration. The group also intends to build an industrial park adjacent to the incinerator site. The incineration process will produce steam, which could be used by other manufacturing facilities in the industrial park. Permits will be required from DEP for various aspects of the development, including stormwater and air quality measures. And then it says, at this time, construction is anticipated to begin in 2018, which really, in terms of permits and putting all this together, is not that far away. You know that, right? Now, subsequently to this published information being found online and talked among a few residents, there were 2 commissioners' meetings where Alan Hall responded to questions about it. And they are videotaped. They're available on YouTube in their entirety, so this is not made up. This is factual. Okay. He responded to these questions. His responses were quite contradictory to the information in the director's report, which you can view for yourself. On 427, Paul said he knew a little bit about it, but insisted there are no proposals and no plans. Fine, we know that. In spite of this, he did seem to know that it would definitely not be biohazard, garbage, or anything like that. Residents can use it to get rid of the chemicals they have under their sinks, so it would not be used to burn frac waste or anything like that. Okay. He also said, I'm sure the township, even if it were to get that far, will have a public meeting and you can ask all your questions, but no, they're not looking to do anything like that, which is exactly what you were saying here. We have no plans, no proposals, contrary to what's in the director's report. On 511, he also contradicted the planning director's report, saying that he was in the discussion about it. He was actually in the same meeting with Templeton, with the Tyler Corners group. And he said that hazardous was never mentioned, and he was adamant that this word stopped being used, and he also insisted that there is no proposal, nothing says anything like this is going to happen. He also denied that the Tyler Corners group ever mentioned an incinerator, which I don't know how 2 people can attend the same meeting and come out with 2 completely different stories. So I'm not accusing anybody of anything. But if I get to the end here, I mean, basically, we know that Commissioner Hall would ask if he would be in favor of such a facility at that same meeting. And he said, well, it's not up to me, it's up to the township to make a decision whether it's going to go into their area or not. Jack and all. We don't have any control over what people do on their land. And he then forcefully said, but don't worry about it, I haven't seen any plans, there's no plans, there's nothing to tell anybody. Okay. Now, Commissioner Hall, you know, has recently become a licensed commercial realtor. That may be a little bit of a conflict of interest here, because he has the ability, he's got a listing for a $650,000 4-acre property off of Route 11. I have a 5-acre property, I can't get $50,000 for it at this point. So maybe there's a little conflict of interest going on without letting the community know about what the plans are, while some people benefit from it. Okay. Regarding the proposed incinerator, I understand. I believe there's no plans, there's nothing signed. I don't know whether or not there's a host agreement with the township or anyone else. However, recent history of how things do work around here tells us that the public is typically not informed before these deals are made. It's all done behind closed doors without the public's knowledge or consent. Only after the land is purchased with the explicit intent, and while the DP applications are pending because they've already been submitted, then maybe the public is informed. And at that point, if there's enough outcry, they might have a public hearing for us as a sounding board with little or no ability to actually influence anything, regardless of how residents move here. It's too late at that point. An industrial scale incinerator burning waste, regardless of whether that waste stream is deemed hazardous or not, is too consequential for that. The community needs to be involved. And just so you know, this isn't about natural gas. The majority of residents have accepted that, that they wake up to a compressor station here and a pipeline there. Many people have benefited with royalties. Some are still assuming they will benefit, but in any case, an industrial incinerator has no such benefit for this community. And most residents I've spoken with say no. There's a definite line to be drawn here with respect to what types of industry we invite into our community. An industrial incinerator devoted to disposing of out-of-state waste provides no overall benefit. It introduces significant risk of hazardous pollutants being released into our air regardless of the pollution control systems employed, if they are even required. And that's up to either Pennsylvania's rules. They don't have to follow EPA's guidelines. I've done my homework and I've done my research about this. We need specific information. And I know I'm going to be out of time very shortly. What I'd like to say, I'm already out of time. I'm sorry, guys. How to get in trouble with that? Okay, according to Commissioner Hall, the ball is in your court to decide whether or not this is going to take place in our community. So we, some concerned residents, many of here are here, some other ones that I haven't spoken to or included on the letter I'm about to hand you. I'm about to hand you. It asks for more specific details. There's a list of 9 questions, I think, to be provided before the ink is dry on any deals to the community. So we have an opportunity, if need be, to say no. We need more details. Clearly, you don't have all the information yet. You're not, if you do, you're not revealing it yet. You're not prepared to. But we as a community need that information before you sign any deals. We're hoping that you'll provide this information as part of the agenda of the next meeting, June 15th, or as soon as it's available. And as for me, I live only 3 miles as the crow flies from the Flying J, where this facility at this point in time is being proposed. And I have one additional request in addition to what's written in the letter. I ask for your commitment with supervisors that no deals be signed, no host agreements, no land sold with this explicit purpose, and no DEP permit applications even be submitted without first providing detailed plans to this community and obtaining majority consent from residents living within a 10-mile radius of any proposed location. Is anybody with me on that? One for you, because your name is on here too. And you can give this to Jeff. This is signed by, I think, 80 people who may or may not also be present here. I'm not sure. I don't get out much anymore because of my health, not recognized.
So just a couple of your points.
And take a look at the questions too, feel free. If you have any of the information or any of the answers, but this is what we will need before we could possibly say yes or no. Before the thank you.
So a couple things. You mentioned a term or a host agreement. Not familiar with that term, and there is no host agreement that exists between this township or the other.
And the investors. It would be an agreement between the investors and the township
To do what?
to move forward with these
There is
projects.
no host agreement.
There are some things I didn't.
One second. Before, you haven't even met with them.
That's for separate than that.
Yeah, we don't, so just put the rest, some of the things that you stated in there. We don't know anybody, haven't spoken to anybody that's proposing to do this. The first-
Where did this information come from? From the Tyler Group that was in the planning director's report?
What information?
This information, what I read, and I
That
quoted
came
from the
There
online
was a
published
discussion,
report.
there was a discussion with the Tyler Group and the Susquehanna County Planning Commission and our commissioners, not with us. So that's, the information was not given to us, we never met
That's
with them.
fine, and if that's your story, and you're sticking to it, that's okay. Well, I
think
that's true now. Somebody's doing it.
I'm not either, because you're trying to speak, so let me respond to what you're saying. You're insinuating that there is something behind closed doors, Commissioner. And I'm telling you right now that no person from that group has come and spoken to either myself or any of these commissioners, these supervisors. That information came from the county level. And that's where I went today, and I went the day before, to discuss what is going on in Milford Township. Secondly, it's not for the township to decide whether this incinerator is here. That is too simplistic of a statement, and B, is completely outside of our jurisdiction, as I stated before. So I just want to make that clear. There might be some interaction with correspondence that may come to this township as part of the planning and the permit processes. For example, if there's a subdivision, we will get documentation to our township that shows from Susquehanna County Planning Commission that a subdivision plan or land use plan has been proposed, and we may get notification of that. They may come back in DEP, may say, we're going to hold a public hearing in your township that is a place where you can voice your opinion. But there's nothing that we do, because there's no planning and or zoning at the township level that provides us with the ability to have that jurisdiction.
This is my request, and I did not accuse. I am confused because of the conflicting information that's been put out, and finger pointing, Alan Hall pointing back to these guys, now you pointing back to those guys. Wait a minute, and I'm not saying anybody's doing anything wrong. I am asking for a commitment that before any applications are submitted or land is sold for that purpose, that this community gets to decide. Because I guarantee you, if they buy property and they can't build an incinerator, they're not going to be happy.
Well, again, you're using terminology that is way beyond what legally can be done by this township. If two private individuals or companies decide to purchase and sell property, this township cannot restrict that from occurring.
Except that you work for us. You
And
live here.
we have to go according to what the law is. And we are dictated by the second-class township code and with regard to the real estate laws. That's what it is. He's right.
He's right, but then I have to tell you,
But we are open.
fight with your hands. This
That's
will
fine.
not be, this Massachusetts and Connecticut residents have already said no to this proposal. And these investors believe that Susquehanna County, and especially in Milford, will be an easy target because people, they don't pick up their heads. And they're already inundated with gas.
Okay. Let's move
I
on.
don't, this needs to be a community.
We understand that.
Everybody
As soon
gets
as
2
we get
minutes.
some information, we will gladly, we have to hold a public meeting to get it all out to you, we will. We don't, I found out at 7 o'clock. I don't even know this from you.
I
So
didn't realize
don't
this was
accuse
going
us
to
of
be the
not
agenda at all.
trying to hide something.
Right.
If I knew, I would tell you. We're moving on to the
Meryl,
next
everybody
person.
got 2 minutes.
As soon as we find something out and we can express it, we will do so by the next meeting.
Just one quick question. How much authority do you as township supervisors have to block this if you decide to do that? Can you say no, and that's it?
There are certain points at the process that we can input, certain comments, if you will, depending on the sewage facilities and things of that nature, depending on the plans. But we're all talking in the abstract here. I have no clue what the specifics are to a plan. So if somebody comes across my desk and you look at it and it is completely outside of our jurisdiction, there might be nothing we can say about it. Perhaps it touches upon the jurisdiction of the township and comments can be made, such as in sewage planning. But this may be a development that's well beyond the local SCO, the sewage enforcement officer level, and has a direct application to DEP. So the answer to your question, we don't have the ability to say no just by saying no. It doesn't exist.
I think it's pretty clear that
Can you state your name, hon? I'm sorry.
Jim Powell. And I think it's clear that Alan Hall just made some incorrect statements about the planning and zoning, because obviously Hartford doesn't have any zoning either. And so that was just an incorrect statement that you guys could do anything about it. I think we have to go to the planning commission and other places. But I would like to bring up a concern about the local existing businesses. I don't think anybody's gonna want to sleep or eat next to an incinerator. And there's lots of eateries, and there's a hotel right there. So there's speculations of what businesses might be able to be brought into the area, but I think that the existing businesses are sure of that. And I'm afraid of what might happen to the existing businesses. So as a whole, I think it would hurt business in the township and the county. So I think it would be a bad decision for business-wise. Thank you.
Thanks.
Can I just ask one more question?
No, I was first. No, I was
Mr.
first.
Hunter was first.
First off, I don't want the incinerator either. But secondly, I see it's a Pentagon gas project.
Yes, that's another issue, that's.
I'd kind of like to hear about that.
Sure,
I can get off the beaten trail here.
Can we take one more back here for the
Young lady.
We'll talk to her, then we'll go to Jim.
Okay.
Just one quick comment. Nancy Watrick, I'm from Bridgewater Township. The letter that Merrill gave you is signed by 80-some residents of Susquehanna County. Probably most of them are not residents in Milford Township. And I just want to let you know that this issue goes far beyond in Milford Township. Air has a way of moving outside of the boundaries of the township, and emissions that could come from this particular industry are going to be widespread, not only in Susquehanna County, but beyond that. So there's a lot of people in the entire county that are very concerned about this.
Could I,
Okay.
can I make one comment?
Sure. Your name?
Barbara Goodwood, I'm from Montrose, and I did attend the last county commissioners meeting. And
Can we please have order in the back so we can hear?
I asked Alan Hall about his saying it was just things that we had under our kitchen sinks and paint, things like that. And he also said we're going to take medical, some sort of medical waste from New York State. And my thought in the beginning was if it's only for residences, things that they can't throw away in the garbage, why do you need a big incinerator? And incinerators are too big to just operate on that little bit. So they are going to take waste from the rest of the state and out of state. So do we want, can we stop being dumping around in other states?
It's a little beyond the scope of what I know about the regulations of allowing, if that's true, that waste comes in from other states, the transportation of waste to this facility, whatever that may be, is a little, again, beyond the scope of what we know right now.
Well, in doing that, you're going to have a lot of these trucks on our roads with hazardous waste coming to this incinerator.
Sure.
Okay, Larry.
Okay, what about the
Pentagon?
Pentagon at 492?
Sure.
Mr. Doherty, who represents the company, was at last month's meeting. He was supposed to attend tonight's meeting, but due to some kind of travel conflict in Chicago, the other members attending with him couldn't come, so he called me last minute and said they wouldn't be here. I think Mike can discuss with you what little bit we do know, but the representatives from the companies are not here.
I don't know if you saw that sketch plan.
No, I didn't.
One of the look at what we do is we're not sure what stage of the planning they're in right now. Usually there's at least a proposed site plan.
This to make natural gas and liquid pipe?
That's my understanding.
Yeah.
Again, just
For transport.
For transfer.
correct. On location on 492. Just off 81.
Could you tell us about the leather stocking project, is that done?
Which
The
project?
leather stocking?
In New Milford
Yeah.
Borough?
Yes.
Yeah, correct.
My understanding is that at least it's on hold, is what I've been told, that that's no longer going to happen, or it's not happening anytime soon. And getting a nod in the back of that's true.
Dependent on project
Yes.
that you just mentioned.
Yep.
How far along is that?
Well, it's at least at the development stage where there were sketches that were proposed.
So this is definite?
I don't know the status of where the county was.
Are you aware that it has been advertised in Connecticut papers where the gas is intended to go as coming from right here? So as far as I can see, it's a done deal.
I don't know
In
that.
other communities, it's talked about as a done deal.
I don't know that.
Township did not sign anything on it.
There's no, we have not been informed. This actually was provided by Pentagon, right?
Yes.
It's not, it was not provided by.
So I can bring you those.
That's fine. I'm just telling you that Pentagon provided it to us, but we haven't received anything from the county level that would be the normal course of where we get our information.
They did tell us they submitted to the county, and they're waiting on permits from DEP. And then once it goes to the county, it comes to me. It gets to the supervisors to provide for any subdivisions, whatever. But I
This is
received
long
no.
before anybody knows about it.
Well, they were here at last month's meeting. Do you know how many people were here at last month's meeting?
No, I don't.
4.
I was.
Do you know how many people come to every meeting?
I know
Everyone?
that.
4. So if you want to be informed, you have to come to the meeting. You cannot say you're uninformed if you don't show up.
Well,
That's the truth. You can't say you're uninformed if you're not here because that representative was here 2 rows back last month.
not everyone can know meetings, Jules. Maybe meetings could be sent to people's, meeting minutes could be sent to people's homes in the mail. Or at least-
That would be nearly prohibitive in terms of our.
There's copies here every third Wednesday of the
These are
month.
big.
I'll tell you what, I can do this. If someone comes in, I can run them off a copy. But for us to pay for envelopes, postage, and draft the whole tax roll every single month, we're not going to do that. So if anybody ever wants to stop in and receive a copy of the minutes, they can make it to the meeting, I'll provide it.
Well, can you put it on your website? We do it in other townships.
We don't have a website. We no longer have a website. We have a Facebook page, which I don't think we're gonna, nobody is attending to the website. It's just out there in limbo. And I don't know that we want to put the minutes on our Facebook page. So,
It can't be put on until it's approved for the next meeting. anyways.
right, so.
Ma'am, with all due respect, I'd like to say this. We just found out about this within the last week, and it's a complete surprise. That's why we're here. We're trying to gather information, and I've heard just about every one of you say that one word, we have no information as of yet. I'm patient. I'll be at every meeting that you have. And I will get that information, even if I have to go to the planning commission to get it. But they're hiding right now. You said the owners you were in contact with, they aren't here tonight.
They called me and said a flight was.
They don't want to be here
I'm just
tonight.
a messenger.
But no, it's okay. I understand. I've been through this before, and I hate to say that I hate to see it happening here because I moved up here 10 or 12 years ago. I wanted to retire up here, and I'm here. I love it up here. But I don't love it when I have to smell waste burning coming, and believe me, they may tell you that they're not going to burn hazardous waste. But once that truck gets loaded up in New York and they got 19 bags of waste sitting here, they're not going to leave it outside. They're going to bring it with them. Why don't they build an incinerator in New York? It's their waste, burn it up there. I thank you for your time.
Anybody else? Yes, Mindy.
Sorry, it was a little loud back here when you were saying exactly what the Pentagon was. That's a gas transport, correct?
Yes. Filling station.
Filling station.
The bank's contract.
Anybody else?
Yeah, there is talk about, what is it, Gulf, or what company? It's supposed to be doing the same thing. In Great Bend.
LPG
Yeah,
in Great Bend. That's Great Bend.
yeah. So why is there going to be 2?
I don't have an answer for you. We can find out. I didn't know anything about a place in Great Bend.
Twice as much waste. Well, they are 2 different areas.
Yes.
I wanted to say also that some townships have decided to make their own zoning laws and have their own saldo.
And it might be a good idea for you to reconsider the possibility of making zoning laws, your own saldo, based on the wishes of the people of your township, so you can keep out things like incinerators or anything else that might be a problem or noxious or unhealthy. So, consider that as a possibility. So you have more power. You're not under the power of the county or the state.
Anybody else?
Okay.
I make a motion, pay the bills, adjourn the meeting. Second?
Second.
All in favor? Meeting adjourned.
I hope you have a good one. Good health.
Yeah.